Good, whatever time of day it is for you when you're watching this. Could be right after school. It could be maybe you're trying to get this done in the morning before you come to school because you forgot last night. Or maybe you're someone who does this like really late at night, like at 9:30. I go to bed at like 9:30, so after that is late for me. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about water cycle. Now, hopefully, this is just a review topic. You know the water cycle. It's only 8 slides long. Get through it, and then we'll move on. There will be a little bit of, I think there's a water cycle BCR and a little water cycle quiz. Since it's the middle of summer still, I'm not sure. I know there's a BCR. I'm not sure about the quiz. Okay, so we're going to be describing the stages of the water cycle and use that to help us evaluate how that's related, might be related to your home location, maybe how it's related to use of hydropower in your home. We'll probably talk about this part. We'll talk about the water cycle right now, and then in class we'll talk about how extreme weather might be used in your home design. Okay, so we'll start with little Bill Nye.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Hey, I'm in here. I'm in this giant freezer. Now, let's see what happens when I come outside where you are. See, the surface of my bubble helmet of science turns cloudy. That's because water vapor, which was floating around in the air, sticks to the cold surface in little liquid water droplets. Now, this process, this effect, this thing that happens is called condensation. And it's the same thing that happens to people who wear glasses when they come in after being outside on a cold day. It's where clouds come from. Where'd you guys go? Oh, funny. Oh, very funny. Anyway, condensation is sort of the opposite of evaporation. Instead of liquid water gaining energy and becoming a vapor, water vapor loses energy, becomes a liquid. Little tiny droplets that stick to cold surfaces. It's a very important thing about condensation. Water vapor needs a place to stick in order for condensation to happen.
Look at the glass next time you drink your milk. Does it seem to sweat? Well, the glass isn't really sweating, of course, but it is wet. It's just the water vapor in the nearby air being condensed.
When clouds form, water vapor turns into tiny liquid water drops. But in order for that to happen, the water has to have some place to stick. It has to have something to stick to. So take a look at this. This is our big glass jug cloud apparatus of science. And we're going to make a cloud in here. First, we'll add a little water. This will be the water that will form our cloud. Just swirling it around a little. There. Now, using this pump, we'll pressurize the big glass jug. Then when I pull this rubber stopper off, the air in the jug will expand. And that's when a cloud should form. 3, 2, 1. See, nothing happened. That's because the water vapor didn't have anything to stick to. So what we're going to do is add some dust. Just a tiny amount of dust. And to make the dust, we'll use the smoke from these 2 matches. That's all the dust we need to form a cloud. Now watch. We'll pressurize it again. When I pull it off, the air in the jug expands. And when it expands, it cools off. The same thing happens to air masses when they get blown around by the wind and pushed up high into the sky. 3, 2, 1. See? It's a cloud. It's the water cycle. It's science.
Okay. So, introduction to water cycle involving condensation, evaporation.
Change.
Oops.
Living things.
Apologize. So it includes all these little things that we need to just refresh our memory about. So just quickly a couple more, and then we'll. So here we have a little animation of the rock cycle. You know, so we have some clouds here. It's a precipitation. And as the water precipitates, it gathers on the Earth's surface, sometimes on mountains, not always. And any water that does not get absorbed into the ground and become groundwater runs off on the surface, eventually running into either lakes or oceans. Along the process, water evaporates back into the sky, and the process starts all over again. One thing about any cycle in nature, there is no beginning point. There is no beginning of the water cycle. You could start it anywhere, and not only that, but evaporation can occur here. It can occur here. Some water, even as water is falling in precipitation, some of it can evaporate. So it's something to keep in mind. Actually, I don't remember what this one is. Let's take a look. Sun comes up. We can see now water evaporating. When water comes off the trees, we call that transpiration. So evaporation, transpiration, condensation's occurring over here. And all of this is evaporation. Once the air up here gets cool enough and the clouds have condensed enough water, we can see precipitation. Precipitation occurs all over the place, including on top of the mountains. As it precipitates, water will run off and eventually end up in the lakes and oceans. And then down here, this is water that has run off and seeped down into the ground, and we have water that's underground, and we call that groundwater. You could find these kind of animations by searching water cycle animation. Anytime there's YouTube videos that can teach you about science concepts, about really any concept you want, math concepts. I recently had my washing machine, my clothes washer, broke, and I wanted to know how to fix it, so I looked up how to fix it on YouTube, and I took apart my entire washing machine and put it back together using YouTube as a help to teach me how to do it. So you can find all kinds of animations and tutorials that, if you want it. And so instead of studying and opening up a textbook, you could probably watch a 5-minute video on YouTube to help you learn a subject. Okay. All right, we'll go back. I like that one. All right, so stages of the water cycle. Like we said, we have evaporation. Not necessarily the first one, but evaporation, when water molecules in a liquid escape into the air as water vapor, and then the water vapor, when a water vapor evaporates off plants, it's called transpiration. Precipitation, any form of water falling from the clouds. So rain, hail, snow, all of that is precipitation. A cloud will precipitate as soon as the temperature drops enough so that it can't hold the moisture anymore. Condensation, that's when the water molecules in the air become liquid. So the water evaporates, it's a vapor, it's a gas. And then it goes up, and as it gets it gets farther away from the Earth's surface, the temperature drops, and it wants to turn back into a liquid, and it sort of turns into tiny, tiny droplets of liquid that we see as clouds, and those droplets are grabbing onto dust particles in the air. And then runoff. When it rains or precipitates and the snow melts, all the extra water that can't be absorbed by the ground flows over the land and runs over the land. So that's the water cycle. I hope you enjoyed it.